Not to a market crash, not to identity theft, not to some catastrophic thing they never saw coming. They'll lose it to themselves. One reasonable decision at a time. A car repair that couldn't wait. A trip they earned after everything they'd been through. A small upgrade that felt like finally giving themselves something. Each choice made complete sense on its own. And when they add up the total, the money is just gone. The problem wasn't the spending. The problem is that nobody ever told them what that $10,000 actually was. They thought they had savings. What they actually had was the seed of every dollar they were ever going to build. And they planted it in the wrong soil. And the wrong soil quietly killed it before it ever got a chance to grow. According to a 2025 Empower research study, the median American has $500 in emergency savings. $500. Half the country hasn't reached the starting line. The people who get to $10,000 are already doing something most people never manage. But a 2024 survey of U.S. spending behavior found that 40% of Americans say they would not save a single dollar of an unexpected $10,000 windfall. Not $1. They'd spend it all. Most people never reach $10,000, and a big chunk of the ones who do hand it right back. Your first $10,000 is not a reward for surviving broke. It is the seed of everything that comes next. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where to plant it, how to protect it, and why the wrong account is just as dangerous as spending it. There are two ways to lose this money. Most people only know about one. If you've ever watched your savings balance finally cross a round number and felt that strange mix of relief and fear, like you weren't sure whether to celebrate or brace for something, stay with me. That feeling was trying to tell you something. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly what it was saying. This video is not financial advice. What it is the math and the psychology behind the money decisions that most people figure out too late. Or never at all. Two people who started in exactly the same place. Marcus is 38, works logistics, makes $51,000 a year. He saved $10,000 over about 11 months of packing lunches and saying no to things that hurt to say no to. That quiet floor under his feet, for the first time, he had it. Diana is 34, same warehouse, same salary, same town, same 11 months of quiet sacrifice, same $10,000, same kind of account. They grabbed lunch together the Friday the second balance hit the number. 5 years later, Diana has never touched her $10,000. Marcus has spent it and rebuilt it twice. Same salary, same cost of living, same temptations. Not even close to the same outcome. The difference between them had nothing to do with discipline or willpower. Marcus believed he had finally saved $10,000. Diana believed she had finally planted a seed. Those two beliefs, about the same exact number, quietly determined everything that came after. The uncomfortable part before we go further, the Federal Reserve's 2024 survey of economic well-being found that only 55% of American adults have 3 months of expenses set aside. Nearly 1 in 5 has nothing at all. So statistically, most people watching this have less than Marcus did on the day he crossed that line. Which means you're not far behind. You're at the exact beginning of the story that matters most. The question is not whether you can save $10,000. Millions of people prove every year that they can. The question is what you believe you have when you get there. Because that belief runs the whole show. The S&P 500 has averaged roughly 10.4% per year since 1957, with dividends reinvested, according to Fidelity's historical data from early 2026. Conservative number for this math, 10%. Take $10,000, plant it in the right soil, don't touch it. After 10 years, about $26,000. After 20 years, roughly $67,000. After 30 years, around $174,000. After 40 years, somewhere near $452,000. But most finance videos leave one thing completely out. That $452,000 assumes you're paying taxes on the gains. Inside a Roth IRA, you don't pay a cent. Because you contributed after-tax money going in, every dollar of that growth belongs entirely to you. The IRS doesn't touch the withdrawals. The $452,000 isn't the ceiling, it's what you keep. The actual pre-tax equivalent in a taxable account would be lower. This isn't financial advice, and your return will depend on timing, contributions, and what the market does across your specific decades. The long-run historical data from the S&P 500 backs the ballpark. Nobody can guarantee the next 40 years. What the last 100 years make clear is that staying invested in the broad market over time has been the most reliable wealth-building tool available to an ordinary American. Now sit with the price tag on what Marcus did. He thought he spent $10,000. He spent $452,000, tax-free, because the seed that could have grown into that number was the seed he killed. Not because he was reckless, because nobody ever showed him what it was worth. And the deeper thing embedded in that number, it isn't just $452,000 in future dollars. It's what those dollars would have meant at 65. The ability to leave a job that was grinding him down. The option to help someone in his family when it mattered. The ability to retire at all. The price of spending the seed wasn't the number. It was the life. The numbers feel wrong until you realize they're right. Someone who puts $200 a month into a Roth IRA, starting at 22, invested in an S&P 500 index fund at roughly 8% average annual return, ends up with around $790,000 by age 65. That analysis comes from Villiers Financial, published May 2026, using standard compound growth inputs. Someone who waits until 40 to start and contributes $500 a month, more than twice as much, at the same 8% return ends up with roughly $440,000 by age 65. More than twice as much money per month. 25 years of contributions. Still $350,000 behind the person who started earlier with less. That is not a rounding error. That's compound interest doing exactly what it does. Rewarding time above everything else. The person who started at 22 didn't win because they were smarter, earned more, or had special access. They won because they started before the math had a chance to work against them. The math rewards patience. It punishes delay, and it does both without making a sound. Your first $10,000 is the most valuable money you will ever own. Not because the amount is large, because the time attached to it is irreplaceable. You can earn another dollar. You cannot manufacture more years. The Roth IRA has a contribution limit. In 2026, that limit is $7,500 per year for anyone under 50, about $625 a month. You don't have to hit it. You just have to start, and start in the right account. Because the tax-free wrapper is what makes the Roth IRA different from a regular brokerage account. Same stocks, same index fund, completely different outcome at the end because of what the government takes and what it doesn't. Your first $10,000, or the beginning of it, is the seed that gets to sit in that soil the longest. That's its value. That's why spending it costs more than the sticker price. And that's why what Marcus did, what most people do, is quietly one of the most expensive decisions of a financial life. Not because he was reckless, because nobody ever showed him what the soil could do. None of this is a willpower story. It's a wiring story. Behavioral economists call it mental accounting. Richard Thaler, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2017 partly for this work, showed that people mentally sort money into categories depending on how they earned it and what it feels like. A dollar from overtime feels serious. A tax refund feels like a gift from the sky. A large, round, clean savings balance. Your brain quietly files that under reward. A 2024 survey of U.S. spending behavior found that 84% of Americans justify unnecessary purchases with "I deserve it" or "I'll treat myself." That same survey found 40% of Americans say they would not save a single dollar of an unexpected $10,000 windfall. They'd spend the whole thing. Mental accounting is not a character flaw, it's a wiring flaw. And it gets worse when you've spent years being broke. The savings milestone that feels like a finish line was built to feel that way. Every savings app has $10,000 as a target. The entire culture signals, you made it, you can breathe, you crossed the line. That framing is the trap. And it catches people precisely because it feels correct. $10,000 is not the finish line of escaping broke. It is the starting line of building something. Those are two different races, run in two different directions. When you treat a starting line like a finish line, you do the most natural thing in the world. You sit down. Right at the exact moment the real race was about to begin. Marcus sat down. Diana kept running. Diana wasn't more disciplined. She wasn't white-knuckling her way through every temptation. She changed what the money meant before the temptations ever showed up. Then she built a system so the right thing happened automatically without needing her to make the right call in any heated moment. Willpower fails. Everybody's does eventually. A good system doesn't get tired. There's a second psychological trap layered on top of mental accounting, and it's the one that turns a manageable withdrawal into a full drain. Psychologists call it the what the hell effect. The moment the round number breaks, the moment Marcus's $10,000 became $6,000 for a car repair, something shifted. The perfect, clean, untouched number was already gone. So the next withdrawal was a little easier to justify, and the one after that was easier still. Because once the dam has a crack, water finds it, every time. The first withdrawal is almost never the dangerous one. The dangerous one is the second. By then, the internal logic has already flipped from protect this to it's already compromised. What's the difference? A dieter who eats one cookie decides the day is ruined and eats the whole sleeve. That's not a food problem. That's the what the hell effect. And it does the exact same thing to savings accounts. The first withdrawal doesn't just cost the dollars it removes. It costs the psychological protection keeping everything else safe. Spending $500 off a $10,000 balance doesn't just set you back $500. It removes the mental frame that was holding the other $9,500 in place. This is why the safety net and the wealth seed cannot share an account. If they're in the same place, every legitimate emergency becomes a direct attack on the seed. And once the seed has a crack, the what the hell effect does the rest. Separate accounts are not just bookkeeping, they're a psychological firewall. The seed's protection doesn't come from the balance alone. It comes from the balance never being touched. Not once. By the time Marcus turned 44, he had saved more than $30,000 total over his adult life. Think about what that actually represents. $30,000 of real sacrifice. Packed lunches, skipped nights out, quiet discipline repeated over years. His net worth had barely moved. He kept saving the same $10,000 and handing it back, running as hard as he possibly could and ending up in the same place. The reset tax is not just the money you lose, it's the time it costs to build it. Saving $10,000 over 11 months and spending it doesn't cost you $10,000. It costs you 11 months of your one and only life, every single time you reset. And underneath that is an emotional cost that's harder to see but more expensive in the long run. Each reset chips away at the belief that any of this works for you. After the third time clawing back to zero, a person starts to think, maybe this isn't for people like me. Maybe I'm just not the type. That belief, not the market, not the economy, is what finally makes some people stop trying at all. The math of the treadmill is bad. The story it slowly tells you about yourself is worse. Diana saved her $10,000 exactly once. She never had to save it again because she never spent it. One system, one decision. The rest is compounding. The moment everything changed for Diana is small enough that it almost doesn't feel like a story. She opened 2 accounts on a Tuesday night. Not a motivated Tuesday, not a big one. Just a regular evening with half an hour and a phone in her hand. She opened a high-yield savings account and named it Do Not Touch Safety Net. Then she opened a Roth IRA, pointed it at a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, and named that account Future Diana, Hands Off. Then she set up 2 automatic transfers tied to her payday. Both moved before the money ever hit the checking account she spent from, before she could see it arrive, before she could feel it and make a decision about it. That was it. One Tuesday night. 2 accounts, 2 names, 2 automations. She didn't rely on motivation, didn't rely on discipline, didn't have to make the right call every Friday when a sale hit her inbox. She made the right call once, on a Tuesday, and then let the system make it for her every single payday after that. The seed was in the right soil. The automation kept it there. The only thing left to do was leave it alone. That's the whole thing. Not a heroic act of willpower, stretched over decades. One boring, unsexy, completely replicable Tuesday night of pointing your paycheck in the right direction before your hands could get to it. Step 1. Build your safety net in a high-yield savings account. Your emergency fund belongs in an HYSA, not a checking account, and absolutely not in the stock market. If your money is in stocks, the market can drop 30% the same week you lose your job. You'd be forced to sell at the bottom just to cover rent. That's the worst possible outcome. The HYSA keeps your safety money stable, accessible, and earning real interest while it waits. As of June 2026, the best HYSAs are paying 4% to 4.5% APY, according to NerdWallet's current data. The national average, per the FDIC, is 0.38%. On a $10,000 emergency fund, that gap is roughly $400 to $410 per year in additional interest, for doing nothing except switching where the money lives. Accounts like Marcus by Goldman Sachs, SoFi, Ally, and American Express offer competitive rates with no minimum balance requirements. Check current rates at publishing. They shift. But the account type is what matters. How much should be in here? The standard rule of thumb from financial planners is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. If you spend roughly $3,000 a month on rent, food, utilities, and transportation, your safety net target is somewhere between $9,000 and $18,000. On a $51,000 salary, that puts the lower end of your safety net right around where your first $10,000 lands, which means your first $10,000 was never even your full safety net. Everything above the 3-month floor is what starts flowing toward the wealth seed. Step 2. Plant your wealth seed in a Roth IRA. Once the safety net is funded, the wealth seed goes into a Roth IRA at a brokerage like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. Inside it, you choose a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. The 2026 contribution limit is $7,500 per year for anyone under 50. You don't have to hit that number. Start with whatever you can automate consistently. Per every piece of long-term data on this topic, the amount matters less than the start date. Every year you delay is a year of compounding your future self won't get back. Step 3. Automate both transfers on payday. Set the transfers to happen before the money hits the account you spend from. Not as a reminder, not as a good intention. Automatically, like a bill that already has your name on it. When the money moves before you see it, you don't feel it leave. You don't have to summon the right motivation on a Friday night. The decision is already made. That's the system. HYSA for the safety net. Roth IRA with a low-cost S&P 500 index fund for the wealth seed. Automation to hold it together without depending on you to choose correctly every week for the next 30 years. Diana did all three on one Tuesday evening. The system has been running on its own ever since. What Diana actually built is bigger than the number in the account. The real thing she built is a version of herself that doesn't check her bank account with a knot in her stomach anymore. Most people spend their entire working lives in low-grade financial anxiety. One bad month from falling behind. One surprise expense from starting over. That feeling is exhausting in a way that's hard to describe until you've felt the other side of it. Diana knows what the other side feels like. Not because she has a huge number, she doesn't yet. Because she has a growing one. A seed working in the background while she's not thinking about it. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've already made the decision for your future self. You feel it at work. You can say no to an extra shift you don't want. You can push back on something unfair without the fear that you can't afford the fallout. The money isn't giving you that feeling, the position is. The knowledge that something is compounding in the background while your present life goes on. This is what building wealth actually feels like from the inside, not a number on a screen. Options. Breathing room. Becoming someone whose financial life is working for them, not against them. Marcus had money in the account once. He never had the position. He kept spending the floor out from under himself before it could hold any real weight. You don't have to choose Marcus's ending. The accounts exist. The automation exists. The HYSA, the Roth IRA, the S&P 500 Index Fund. All of it is available to anyone willing to spend one Tuesday evening treating the seed like the machine it is, not the trophy it isn't. If you have $10,000 saved right now, or you're working toward it, you are ahead of most people. Per Empower's 2025 research, the median American has $500 in emergency savings. Among millennials specifically, it's $300. Most people are not playing the game you're playing. That's worth saying plainly. That doesn't mean $10,000 is enough, especially in high-cost cities. Your 3 to 6 month safety net might be $15,000 or $18,000 depending on where you live and what you spend. And your math might look different from the $51,000 example in this video. If you earn $35,000, your safety net target is lower. The same framework still applies. The seed can start at $1,000. Time is the asset, not the opening balance. The S&P 500's 10.4% historical average is a long-run number, not a guarantee for any single year. Down 18% in 2022, up 26% in 2023, up roughly 17.7% in 2025 per available data. Individual years swing hard. The average is what decades of them produce together. Staying invested and staying out of your own way is the strategy. The seed doesn't care about a bad year. It cares about how many years it has. Your first $10,000 is not money. It is the seed of every dollar you are going to build. And the difference between Marcus and Diana was never the balance. It was what each of them believed the balance meant. Change the belief. Name the accounts. Give the seed a job. Open the HYSA. Open the Roth IRA. Set up the automation on payday. Do it on a Tuesday night when nothing is on the line and the decision is clear. Because the right time to protect the seed is before anyone is asking for it. The seed doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs soil that can actually grow it and enough time to do its work. Before I go, where are you right now? Still working toward the first $10,000? Just hit it? Already past it and protecting it? Drop your number in the comments. I read everyone. If this landed differently than what you usually hear, hit subscribe. Every video on this channel is built around the math and the psychology behind the money decisions that actually change where you end up. This is that kind of channel.